Hello and welcome back to TVRI World Special Report. I am Luisa Kusnandar.
And I'm Audrey Toyo, and today we are going to discuss about the registration for the second pair of presidential as well as vice presidential candidates. For this morning in particular, Luisa, we have discussed about the first pair who registered, who is Anies Baswedan as well as Muhaimin Iskandar. However, now we are going to go to the second pair of Ganjar-Pranowo as well as Mahfud MD.
That's right. So let's go to our first story here. The week-long registration for candidate pairs of presidential, vice presidential candidates begins today. Former Central Java Governor Ganjar-Pranowo is one of the three candidates that will contest the presidential election in February next year. Following is Ganjar's profile. Let's have a look.
Born on February 14, 1968 in Semarang, Central Java, Ganjar-Pranowo is one of the young Indonesian politicians who emerged following the end of Indonesia's autocratic rule in 1998. He joined the Indonesian Democratic Party of Struggle, or PDIP, and climbed up the rank to serve as a member of the parliament for 2 straight terms between 2004 and 2013.
Yang keempat, PDI Perjuangan ini sangat luar biasa.
He won the gubernatorial election of Central Java, a PDIP stronghold, in 2013 and won the second term in the province with third largest number of voters in the country. He completed his tenure as a Central Java governor in September 2023 and set eyes to compete in the presidential election in early 2024. As a member of PDIP, Ganjar advocates for the party's values of social welfare and justice and solidified Central Java as the party's stronghold during his tenure. PDIP patron and Indonesia's first female president to date, Megawati Soekarno Putri, nominated Ganjar as a presidential candidate in April 2023 in the hope of sustaining the party's rule when the popular President Joko Widodo, also a member of PDIP, steps down from office in 2024.
Sampai ke tanggal 14 Februari nanti. Inilah dia konsultasi dari partai-partai pengusung yang akan bekerja keras sampai ke rumah-rumah untuk sama-sama mengajak pemilih presiden.
Thanks to having 128 seats in the 575-seat lower house, PDIP is the only party that can nominate a presidential candidate without having to create a coalition with the other parties.
Saya dan Pak Mahfud tentu hari ini berbangga, sekaligus tentu saja ada amanah yang tidak ringan untuk kita lakukan, karena lengkap sudah seluruh pimpinan partai pengusung hadir.
Ganjar obtained a bachelor degree from the law faculty of Universitas Gadjah Mada, one of Indonesia's prominent universities, as well as a master's degree in political science from the same university.
Bukan anak UGM, jadi nggak tahu gelanggang mahasiswa itu tempat olahraga.
Gelanggang mahasiswa itu tempat bertemunya seluruh aktivis di sana, dari berbagai kegiatan seni, diskusi, demo, olahraga, semua ada di sana.
He is a father of one and has a penchant for hard rock and metal. Ganjar has more than 6 million Instagram followers, the highest among the 3 presidential candidates.
We'd like to welcome our interviewee again for today, Professor Kacung Marijan. a social and political science professor at Surabaya-based Erlangga University. Hello, Professor. We're trying to get connected with the professor via Zoom, who we have been dialoguing with, talking to it through the morning. Hello, Professor. Can you hear our voices? Can you see us?
Again.
Hi, welcome back to TVRI World. Thank you for joining us again.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, thank you, Professor Kajing, for giving your time today as well as insights and expertise on the second registration that is happening really soon. Well, before we go into our dialogue, why don't we look into the profile of the vice presidential candidate for the second registration. So as the registration for presidential and vice presidential candidates is approaching, the ruling Indonesian Democratic Party for Struggle, or PDIP, has named Mahfud MD, Indonesia's top security minister, as the running mate for Ganjar Pranowo, contesting in the presidential election in February of 2024. Ganjar has been picked by the PDIP as presidential candidate in April this year. Below is a short profile of Mahfud MD. Let's take a look.
Muhammad Mahfud Mahmudin, or better known as Mahfud MD, is now the coordinating minister for security, legal and political affairs since October 2019. Born in Sampang, Madura on May 13, 1957, Mahfud MD has gained public support for his fight against corruption and misbehavior of government officials in Indonesia. Mahfud MD has served in several key capacities, including as the defense minister between 2000 and 2001 under the then-President Abdurrahman Wahid or Gus Dur. He was Chief Justice of the Constitutional Court from 2008 to 2013. Mahfud MD is the son of Mahmudin and Siti Khadijah. His father was a civil servant in Omben, Sampang, Madura, in East Java province. Mahfud MD completed his elementary education in Pamekasan and continued to go to junior high school in Madura, after which he attended State Islamic Senior Law School, or PIN, equivalent to senior high school.
Karena dari pondok pesantren ini saya mulai mengenal agama.
Mahfud went to universities, taking two major studies at two different universities: the Arabic literature at Gajah Mada University and constitutional law at Yogyakarta Islamic University in Yogyakarta. He graduated in 1983. Then Mahfud pursued his studies, taking political science, and obtained his master's degree from Gajah Mada University, and then a doctorate degree in constitutional law from Gajah Mada University in 1993. Mahfud has been active in various students and academic activities. He is married to Zaizatun Nihajati, or better known as Yati, in 1983. Mahfud and Yati have been blessed with 3 children. They are Muhammad Ikhwan Zain, a graduate of medical schools of Gajah Mada University; Vina Amalia, born in 1989, a graduate of medical schools of Airlangga University; and Rohyan Akbar, born 1991, a graduate of law faculty of Gajah Mada University in Yogyakarta. Mahfud MD, 66 years old, has been a senior member of Indonesia's largest and most influential Islamic organization, Nahdlatul Ulama, or NU.
Tapi kita bicara keislaman dalam kerangka keindonesiaan.
After being named by PDIP chairwoman Megawati Soekarno-Putri as the running mate for Ganjar Pranowo on October 18, 2023, Mahfud voiced his commitment to maintain law enforcement and pursue his fights against corruption in Southeast Asia's largest economy.
Ini saya menyatakan saya bersedia untuk ikut kontestasi. Bersama Mas Ganjar, saya akan mendedikasikan diri semua kemampuan saya.
If law enforcement is carried out properly, half of the problems the nation is facing is resolved. Tackling corruption, ensuring legal certainty and consistency in enforcing law would guarantee investment and economic development, Mahfud MD said in his speech at the headquarters of PDIP in Jakarta. Besides PDIP, Ganjar and Mahfud's ticket is backed by United Development Party or PPP, Perindo and Hanura. PDIP and PPP have seats at the national parliament, while the other two only have seats at provincial and regency levels.
Luar biasa, terima kasih. 3, 2, 1.
Well, we saw a profile of the vice presidential candidate, the second one who will register today, who is Mahfud MD. And now, Luisa, we are going to go back into our dialogue with Professor Kachung Marijan. So, Professor, we just saw profiles of both the president as well as vice presidential candidates who will be registering today. What do you make of this? What do you think of this pair?
It's interesting what happened today. The first pair that already registered graduated from Gajah Mada, and the second pair that will register this afternoon also graduated from Gajah Mada. So all Gajah Mada graduated. Yes, it is interesting. It indicates that the both of the pair or obtain excellent education in excellent university. And then another thing in regard with the second pair, Pak Ganjar and Pak Mahfud, both of them graduated from law actually, yes, if you can see, and from law and political science. Yeah, Pak Mahfud graduated from law, and then he got a master in political science, and then a PhD in law. And Pak Ganjar graduated from undergraduate from law, and then he got master from political science. So based on their education and their experience, they know more what should they do if they are elected as president and vice president.
Well, Professor, as you have mentioned just now, they both graduate from law, so we can assume that they have a lot. They are very compatible together. What would you say would be their strengths and their weaknesses as a pair?
Yes, first, their strength, they have education and experience in government. I think that's their strength. And Pak Ganjar, in terms of support, Pak Ganjar got support more from Central Java and East Java. And then Pak Mahfud, I think because he had a background from Nahdlatul Ulama, he will get more support from part of Nahdlatul Ulama community base, especially from Madura. Yes, because as we know that one of the weakness of Pak Ganjar is also how to get more support from Madura, because Pak Mahfud is from Madura, so maybe PDAP or this pair will get more support from Madura. But another weakness is that if we can see the data from many surveys, that Pak Ganjar has weakness in getting support from West Java, Banten, and Jakarta. I think by having running mate now, I think Pak Ganjar need to do some more attention in West Java, Banten, and also Jakarta.
So those are the areas that also need to be paid attention to, especially when looking for votes. What do you believe, Professor, would be their ideal target demographic, especially for this pair compared to the other presidential pairs?
Yes, Pak Mahfud is baby boomer. He's now 66, and Pak Ganjar is 55, something like that. And in term of how to use the media, both of them are very active in using social media. Pak Mahfud is very active, has been very active in media, Twitter, and Pak Ganjar as well, Twitter and Instagram, and they has been actively interact with all of the generation, including Gen Z. I think in terms of the age, it is no problem at all because both Pak Mahfud and Pak Ganjar has been very active in using social media.
As we can see just now that the Instagram follower for Ganjar Pranowo has reached around 6.3 million followers, the most among all the three pairs.
The highest.
Yeah.
Highest, yeah. Quite a lot of, of followers right there. And actually now we can direct our attention towards the TV poll in which the party leaders have also arrived. And they are waiting for the arrival of Ganjar Pranowo as well as Mahfud MD at the General Elections Commission. So we can also see Luisa as well, Professor, that they are waving their flags in support of the pair, the presidential and vice presidential candidates, similar to this morning's enthusiasm from Anies Baswedan as well as Muhaimin Iskandar. It's quite interesting to see how it's probably going to be a full day at the KPU, a very busy day, waiting for these candidates to register. And Professor Kachung, how do you think has been the response as well of the public for the registration and announcement, especially of Ganjar Pranowo as well as Mahfud MD as a pair?
Yes, a bit surprised actually, because even though we already know that Pak Mahfud is one of the candidate that considered to be running mate of Pak Ganjar, but there was other candidates, for example, Bu Kofifa and Pak Sandi Uno and other candidates. But finally, Bu Megawati then decided to choose Pak Mahfud as a candidate. We can guess actually that from the sign that indicated by Secretary General of PDIP that the candidate could be from NO, and in that case, many people easily guess that the candidate could be Pak Mahfud or Bu Kofifa, but finally Pak Mahfud is the chosen person to be running mate of Pak Ganjar.
Why do you think the choice ended up being Pak Mahfud MD among all the other choices, in your opinion?
First, Pak Mahfud has very long experience in government, both executive, legislative, and judiciary. Yeah, Pak Mahfud aspiring to be minister for a second time during Gus Dur and during Pak Jokowi. And then he was also member of parliament from BKB. And then he was also a member of Constitutional Court. Even he did the Constitutional Court around 5 years. Based on the experience, maybe Pak Bumega hope that it will get more attention from the people to choose the pair, because there is some weakness of Pak Ganjar that can be fulfilled by the appearance of Pak Mahfud in the candidacy.
Yeah, it is, like you said, it was quite surprising in the beginning when Pak Mahfud MD was chosen, although, like you said, there were probably some expectations or assumptions that he might be in the running. However, when the news did break out, I did remember people quite having a response to it, especially for Pak Ganjar as well as Pak Mahfud. What do you believe, Professor, is going to be the main aspects that are going to be focused for their campaign, especially what they will promote to the public? You mentioned before that there are only two factors. It is whether it's continuity or change. So for Ganjar Pranowo as well as Mahfud MD, which one of those do you think they will most likely focus on?
Yes, even though Pak Ganjar and PDIP and the support of the coalition stand for continuing of the Jokowi's administration. Yes, that it is. But I think in some aspect, they also want to improve some weakness of the government of Jokowi administration. For example, how to fight corruption. As we know that during Jokowi administration, corruption is still a big problem. And another thing is how to improve um, the gap between the poor and the rich, among region as well, as the PDIP is concerned about the disadvantaged people, the poor, for example. I think this area that can be get more attention from the pair.
And you mentioned about corruption, which is interesting because Mahfud MD is quite known for his fight against corruption, and he has had several positions in law in terms of the law as well. Like he was on the Chief Justice at the Constitutional at the MK, and now, like you said, both having backgrounds in law and law enforcement, possibly this might be an aspect that will be discussed more for that campaign. How do you think the background, especially specifically for Mahfud MD, having been in the fight against corruption as well, really maintaining law enforcement for Indonesia, how do you think that will also influence the votes towards this pair?
Yes, one of the reasons why PDIP finally choose Pak Mahfud is because he has been very active in voicing how to fight for corruption. Even nowadays, he can be a hero of fighting, a fighter of for corruption. And many people, especially for young people, are concerned about corruption. So this is why by choosing Pak Mahfud, the PDIP hope that he will get more support, especially from the critical group of people in Indonesia, yes, to support this pair.
And so that particular aspect can also be quite critical for the voters to later on discern whether this candidate is the one that they would like to vote. And well, now we have visuals from the TV pool in which we are going to take a look at, in which the presidential and vice presidential candidates Ganjar Pranowo as well as Mahfud MD are arriving at the General Elections Commission. Why don't we take a look at the TV pool?
We're still at the moment waiting for the arrival of the state leadership candidates coming to the General Election Commission. While we're waiting, let's go for a short break and we'll be back right after the break. Stay with us.
The general election, or pemilu, in Indonesia is held to elect people's representatives and government officials directly by Indonesian citizens. Elections are an important mechanism in a modern democratic system that allows the people to participate in the political process, either to elect or being elected as public elected officials. The aim is to create a government system that is based on the will of the people, maintain democratic principles, encourage political participation of citizens, and ensure that elected leaders represent the interests and aspirations of society at large. Fair, free, and transparent elections are very important in maintaining the democratic integrity of a country. Elections in Indonesia have been held for 12 times since 1955 until now. The history of elections in Indonesia began in 1946 when President Sukarno formed the Central National Committee Composition Reform Agency, or BPS-KNP. However, BPS, which already had branches in the regions, had apparently never carried out its duties in electing members of parliament. After the independence revolution subsided on November 7, 1953, President Sukarno signed Presidential Decree No. 188 of 1955 concerning the appointment of the Indonesian Election Committee, or PPI. This committee was tasked with preparing, leading and holding the 1955 election to elect members of the Constituent Assembly and members of the People's Representative Council. The country's first legislative elections then was held in September 1955. It established a proportional representation system in multi-member constituents. Although the election process was fair and democratic, the outcome was disappointing for those who had hoped it would increase the stability of parliamentary democracy. None of the competing parties even won a quarter of the total valid votes. The Indonesian Nationalist Party or PNI, formed by President Sukarno, gained 22.3% of all the votes. That was the election in independence period from 1945 to 1959. After that, Indonesia turned into a guided democracy from 1959 to 1965. Elections during this period took place in an undemocratic political climate because of the guided democracy system was only implemented by President Sukarno. Political parties were suppressed and dominated by PNI, the ruling party back then. The era then moved to new order in 1966 to 1998, led by President Suharto. After the G30 SPKI and the fall of Sukarno, Suharto became president and led the new order era. Elections are regulated by Law No. 5 of 1975 and Law No. 2 of 1985, which established the ABRI dual function system, where the armed forces play a role in politics and society. Under the new order, Indonesia held its first election in 1971. This was effectively a legitimacy tool for the new order regime. 10 political parties contested the election. One of them was a functional group, Golongan Karya or Golkar, established in the early 1960s as a united front to fight the Communist Party. Golkar was de facto leading party of Suharto's new regime. Golkar Party dominated the elections in this period. The next term was in 1977 to 1997. In the 1977 election, the original election contestants were 10 political parties, but then cut to only 3 political parties. NU, Parmusi, Perti and PSII merged to create the United Development Party or PPP. PNI, Parkindo, the Catholic Party, the IPKI Party and the Murba Party became the Party Indonesian Democracy or PDI. The United Development Party or PPP, Golkar and PDI continued to be maintained until the 1997 elections. Golkar as a single majority continued in the next 4 elections in 1982, 1987, 1992 and 1997. Golkar became the winning party. PPP and PDI ranked the second and the third. Indonesia then entered the Reformasi era in 1998 up to present. In 1998, Indonesia experienced political reform that overthrew the Suharto regime. These political changes paved the way for changes to the political system and electoral process.
Okay, well, we just saw a little history on the elections of Indonesia, even starting from one of the reformations, which is huge in ensuring that the democracy is able to be implemented fairly and justly in Indonesia. Well, currently we are going to go to the TV poll again, right, Luisa, in which the presidential and vice presidential candidates have arrived at the General Elections Commission. Why don't we take a look at the TV poll?
So now as we're watching on the screen, we're looking at so many of the supporters of Ganjar Pranowo as well as Mahfud MD. They're all chanting some yells and they're all waiting for the arrival of the second presidential and vice presidential candidate, Ganjar Pranowo, with Mahfud MD. And
as we are waiting as well for the arrival and of the candidates, we are also joined by another guest, correct, Luisa? Well, we have Bapak Wasisto Raharjo Jati, researcher at Center for Politics National Research and Innovation Agency, or BRIN. He will be joining us to dialogue more about the second round of registrations for the presidential and vice presidential candidates of Indonesia.
Hello, Bapak Wasisto, can you hear us?
I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you, Pak Wasisto, for joining us here on a special dialogue on TVRI World. Well, first and foremost, we're looking at the arrival of Ganjar-Mahfud, this pair arriving at the KPU at the moment. So from the survey so far, and on behalf of BRIN, what would you say of this couple? Are they a strong couple so far? How is it looking for them?
Well, I think this couple represent the balanced political power recently in Indonesia, secular and religious faction. So this couple basically represent us also represent us symbolically the current voter segment that ingrained in current public space. So this couple actually has many potential plan to recruit or maybe attract many voters for those two segments.
What kind of potentials would you say? In what way?
Well, the first one is they could able to mix both religious and nationalist narration. So if these two narration can be blended perfectly, it can attract not only their current constituent voters, but also the undecided voter that's still looking for the best candidate they would choose for the next February.
And that is quite interesting because we've known before that especially for the dynamics of these pairs, it can be quite different, right? They don't have to come from the same background, and even before in our conversation, Mas Arya Budi said it is recommended for them not to be in the same background in order for them to gain more votes from the audience, as well as capturing the demographic of Indonesia. And actually, Mas Wasisto, from BRIN, how has been the general response for the Indonesian elections so far from the research?
You mean from the recent election result and its implication to this pair?
Yeah,
is it right?
For the 2024 elections, what has the research from BRIN produced in terms of the responses from the people? Have there been great enthusiasm for people to vote, because we now also have a bonus demographic for Indonesia? Do you think that there's going to be an uptick of voters for 2024 compared to the previous elections?
Well, so according to our research at BRIN, during 2014 until 2020, of course, it was a heated identity polarization that shaped political preference among voters. So this encouraged voters to be more emotionally when it comes to vote for the candidates. But recently, it has been changed now. Now, I think the heated polarization can be under control. And then I think the big narration of the upcoming election is the personalization of the figure, because what the what the best thing that the voter are looking for right now is the charisma and then the ideational concept of the development. So those two, I think, would be the main consideration for the voter when they come to the poll station.
And I guess that is one of the thing that appeals to this pair, especially towards Ganjar Pranowo, is that people are saying he does have that charisma and he does have that progressive kind of attitude and thinking. Professor Kachung, would you agree with that? What do you think is appealing from this pair that separates them from the other two?
Yes, for the voter, personal branding is very important as well. This is not only dealing with the party, but also personal branding. How the appearance of a candidate, whether it is handsome or not, yes, and beautiful or not, etc., etc. It is interesting because this is not only in Indonesia, because this will happen in other countries in the world, that personal branding become one of factor to attract the voter. And I would like to add some information about the voter fatality in Indonesia. The voter fatality in Indonesia is quite high, more than 30%. It means that it can change from party to other. It can change from candidate to other. If we look at the survey conducted by some survey institution, we can found that many of the voter, even almost 50%, can change their choice. Yes, from one candidate to other, and so they're still waiting for what happened in this week. Yes, who are the candidates, and then what kind of program that they will offer to the people. For example, are they interested are they interesting or not, and then whether they will be more closer to the people or not. They're still waiting for, actually, because they may change from their choice to other candidates.
The voters who are still indecisive or is still swaying. And as you
Yes,
mentioned
yes.
before, just now, that millennials actually have a very, very strong position at this election. And I also like to note that just now you mentioned about personal branding, which is actually pretty new at this election, because previously we don't really have that significant use of social media, whereas now, as we have seen just now, Ganjar Pranowo has so much followers on Instagram. Do you think he's really using this technology as a very important part of his campaign so far?
Yes, so far, the first person that quite successful to use personal branding is Barack Obama. He was very successful and was very active in using social media, etc., for his personal branding. And Pak Jokowi as well, actually, because during his campaign, Pak Jokowi also tried to use his appearance, his character, by using media and social media, not himself actually, but by his follower and his supporter, actually, to attract the people. And this coming election also, I think most of, not all of the candidates also try to improve their personal branding, whether Pak Ganjar, Pak Anies, ya, Pak Muhaimin, Pak Mahfud, Pak Prabowo, also concerned about how to improve personal branding to attract the voters.
And to Mas Wasisto, do you agree that currently personal branding, has there been a trend from research that is more important now?
Well, I think I agree with Professor Marichan that explain the use of social media can push up the personal branding because currently most of the voters that predominantly dominated by millennials and Gen Z, of course, they are digital native, and the first impression that they would see is the visual expression rather than textual expression, of course. So, so this show how the significance of the personal branding to polish up the image that may can attract voters from the young people, Mbak Louis and Mbak Andri.
So that is also.
I think, sorry, can I add one point again?
Yes, of course.
And I think it also important to note that for the personal branding also depends on the certain social media characteristic. For example, we cannot generate the content from Facebook to X or maybe to TikTok because the platform has specific expression. So I think the can get aware of this its personal its social media platform. So I think they should specify the branding that they would to spread over the voters, Louis and Battery.
Well, between all the social medias we have out there, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have TikTok as well, and X, or previously Twitter. What would you say is the most effective tool to do their campaign, since we are trying to reach out to the millennials?
I think it depends on the segment of millennial and Gen Z you want to look for, because in my opinion, they have certain expression that uniquely different between each other. So, for example, if you want to attract young people or millennial voter from the urban side, well, maybe you can post anything that relate with the, for example, urban issues, for maybe flooding, congestion, housing. But for the millennial for that live or reside in rural area, I think you should pick up different topics because you cannot generate this topic in both sides, Mbak Louis and Mbak Adri.
And of course, YouTube. I forgot to mention that, since everyone is on YouTube now and less on TV even. Like a lot of people are always on their phone watching YouTube. Yeah.
I mean, technology has definitely been quite pivotal in even mobilizing people to vote, because I know, Luisa, that there are now some even accounts on Instagram as well as other social media accounts that have given information to people about these presidential candidates, and I think that can mobilize people to vote and also change their ways of thinking. And before, I'm quite interested in what Professor Kachong mentioned about the volatility, especially the high volatility rate of voters. So, Professor, do you think with the percentage that is increasing for voters being able to change their mind from one day to another, or from one statement to another, how do you think the survey and the polling is reliable at this point? Because now we know that there is already a specific, let's say, order or surveys that's been done to see which ones are the most favorable candidates, but it's quite early in the race. So would you say that those polls are quite reliable now, or should we wait until the next couple of weeks?
Yes, I think what they're waiting for is who are the complete candidates for the three pair of candidates. Who are they? This is the first thing that the voter is waiting for, and then also what kind of idea that we're going to share, what they're going to promise to the people. And another thing is about the supporting of party, because now we have a simultaneous election for parliament and for president. And parliament, they will choose the candidate from the party and also from the president. And this is not only about the totality of the voter that they may change from one candidate to another, but also about what we call split voting. Split ticket voting. Split ticket voting, it means that, for example, one of member of a certain political party will choose the party, but for the candidate of president, they're different with the candidacy of the party. It is called split ticket voting. For example, one of party X that propose candidate president A, for example. Then the member of party X choose the candidate president B. It is called split ticket voting. So there are two issues. First is the totality of the voter that is still waiting for which one is the best choice for the voter. And the second, the choice of the member of the party could be different, yes, from the choice of presidential candidate of the party.
So having those two factors are important to keep in mind as well. And now we can see in the TV poll that the General Elections Commission has welcomed the second presidential and vice presidential candidates, Ganjar-Pranowo and Mahfud MD. They have entered the room that before Anies Baswedan as well as Muhaimin Iskandar has entered. And we can see that there are also leaders of the KPU, such as Hashim Ashari, who is present.
Oh, that's cute, Audrey.
Yes, they have a, I would say, a pop-up
card.
Pop-up card displayed in front of the KPU. And all the party leaders as well as the coalition leaders have also arrived, Luisa, at this room, which is quite critical, in which the documents will be handed over to the KPU.
And we are currently witnessing what we have witnessed before this morning, where the presidential as well as vice presidential candidates are already ready right now.
Menyanyikan lagu kebangsaan Indonesia Raya
And
dan
soon
jingle
they will
pemilu.
sing the national anthem, Indonesia Raya.
dilanjutkan dengan menyanyikan jingle pemilu. Hadirin disilakan duduk kembali. Bapak Ibu hadirin yang kami hormati, selanjutnya kita simak bersama sambutan yang mewakili pimpinan gabungan partai politik sekaligus memperkenalkan bakal pasangan calon presiden dan wakil presiden kepada Ibu Megawati Soekarno Putri. Disilakan.
Opening remarks from the party leader.
Bapak Ketua KPU, sebelum saya memberikan pidato, saya mohon dengan sangat hormat karena kebetulan saya ditugasi Presiden juga sebagai Ketua Dewan Pembina Ideologi Pancasila, dan saya diminta untuk mempopulerkan suatu salam, namanya salam Pancasila. Jadi nanti kalau saya mengangkat tangan seperti ini, menyebutkan salam Pancasila, sebetulnya harus berdiri, tetapi silakan kalau duduk saja. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, Rahayu. Salam Pancasila. Merdeka! 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 Yang saya hormati Ketua KPU Bapak Hashim Asyari beserta seluruh anggota Komisioner KPU, Ketua Bawaslu Bapak Rahmat Bagja beserta seluruh anggota Komisioner Bawaslu, Ketua DKPP Bapak Edi Lugito beserta anggota DKPP, mohon sekiranya mewakili ataupun berada di tempat ini. Ketua Umum P3 Bapak Muhammad Mardiono, Ketua Umum Hanura Bapak Dr. Usman Sabta, lalu Ketua Umum Perindo Bapak Haritanu, dan ini tentunya yang telah ditunggu-tunggu oleh seluruh rakyat Indonesia, calon presiden Bapak Ganjar Pranowo dan calon wakil presiden Bapak Profesor Mahfud MD. Hadirin dan saudara-saudara sekalian dan seluruh rakyat Indonesia yang kami cintai, guna memenuhi amanat konstitusi bahwa calon presiden dan wakil calon presiden diusung oleh partai politik atau gabungan partai politik, maka pada kesempatan ini kami PDI Perjuangan, P3, Hanura dan Perindo yang telah bersama-sama menyepakati untuk mengusung Bapak Ganjar Pranowo sebagai calon presiden dan Profesor Mahfud MD sebagai calon wakil presiden. Kami tentunya mohon doa seluruh rakyat Indonesia terhadap pasangan Pak Ganjar dan Pak Mahfud MD ini. Keduanya menggelorakan harapan baru bagi rakyat Indonesia. Keduanya akan mempercepat kemakmuran dan daya unggul bangsa. Keduanya telah satu komitmen di dalam menegakkan keadilan. Bapak Ganjar dan Bapak Mahfud MD dikenal jujur, bersih, berpengalaman lengkap dengan kualitas kepemimpinan yang mumpuni. Kepada mereka berdua, harapan baru Indonesia Raya diletakkan dan supaya nyata. Ketua KPU, para komisioner dan hadirin sekalian, dan sekali lagi seluruh rakyat Indonesia yang saya cintai, seluruh dokumen persyaratan telah kami input ke aplikasi Silon Capres Cawapres yang telah difasilitasi KPU. Kami juga membawa dokumen fisik yang diperlukan sebagai bagian prosedur pendaftaran pasangan calon. Selanjutnya, kami percayakan kepada KPU untuk melakukan seluruh verifikasi terhadap dokumen-dokumen tersebut. Kami mengucapkan terima kasih atas kerjasama yang baik dengan penyelenggara pemilu. Pada kesempatan ini, kami juga mengapresiasi atas berbagai kemajuan yang telah dilakukan KPU, Bawaslu, dan DKPP sehingga proses pendaftaran ini dapat berjalan dengan baik. Kami berharap agar pemilu benar-benar dapat dilaksanakan dengan lebih demokratis, jujur, adil, langsung, umum, bebas, dan rahasia, serta menempatkan rakyat sebagai pemenang kedaulatan tertinggi di dalam menentukan pemimpin nasionalnya secara bebas dan merdeka. Selanjutnya kami akan menyerahkan seluruh persyaratan dokumen yang diperlukan. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Santi Sat.
Baik Bapak Ibu hadirin yang kami hormati, selanjutnya penyerahan dokumen persyaratan pencalonan dan juga dokumen persyaratan calon presiden dan wakil presiden oleh pimpinan gabungan partai politik pengusul kepada Ketua Komisi Pemilihan Umum.
Candidates to the head of the General Elections Commission.
Bapak Ibu hadirin dimohon untuk berdiri. Baik, kami ucapkan terima kasih.
Para pimpinan partai pengusung dan tentu seluruh komisioner KPU kami akan menyerahkan dokumen visi misi yang jauh lebih gampang dilihat. Jadi ini ada dokumen tertulisnya dan Pak Mahfud yang akan membawa barcode-nya sehingga siapapun akan bisa membaca dengan mudah.
So everyone would be able to see it easier. I hope it can be accepted.
Baik, kami mengucapkan terima kasih Bapak Ibu hadirin, disilakan untuk duduk kembali.
Everyone is welcome to sit.
Bapak Ibu hadirin yang kami hormati, selanjutnya kita simak bersama sambutan bakal calon presiden.
Remarks of the presidential candidate.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang, salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Rahayu, Salam Pancasila. Yang saya hormati para pimpinan partai politik, hadir di sini Bu Ketua Umum PDI Perjuangan, Pak Mardiono, Ketua Umum P3, Pak Usman, Ketua Umum Hanura, dan tentu Pak Arief, Ketua Umum Perindo dan seluruh jajaran yang hadir. Saya bersama Pak Mahfud dan kami beserta istri hadir di sini untuk menyerahkan dokumen bersama partai pengusung. Dan tentu saja Bapak Ibu dari Komisioner KPU sudah menerima lengkap. Mudah-mudahan menjadi awal legalitas terpenuhi dan insya Allah saya dan Pak Mahfud melalui visi misi dan program yang sudah kita siapkan akan cepat membawa Indonesia maju lebih di jalan. Dan tentu kami mohon dukungan, mohon dorongan kepada masyarakat dan mudah-mudahan KPU akan menjadi wasit yang insya Allah pasti paling netral, pasti paling bisa memberikan layanan terbaik dan kita persembahkan untuk kemajuan bangsa dan negara. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much.
Bapak Ibu hadirin yang kami hormati, selanjutnya kita simak bersama sambutan Ketua Komisi Pemilihan
There will
Umum.
be remarks from the head of the General Elections Commission, Hashim Bashar.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang dan salam sejahtera untuk kita sekalian. Yang kami hormati pimpinan partai politik pengusul atau yang mendaftarkan bakal pasangan calon, pimpinan PDI Perjuangan, pimpinan P3, pimpinan Hanura dan pimpinan Perindo, serta tim yang mendampingi pendaftaran ini. Yang kami hormati teman-teman anggota KPU hadir di sini, Mas Yanto Sudrajat, silakan berdiri Mas.
Present here.
Mas Agus Melas, Mbak Betty Epsilon Idrus, Mas Muhammad Afifuddin, Mas Parsadan Harahap, Mas Idam Holik, dan Pak Sekjen KPU Mas Birnat. Yang saya hormati bakal pasangan calon yang didaftarkan oleh gabungan partai politik, Mas Ganjar Pranowo, Pak Mahfud MD, terus kalian para jurnalis, pertama-tama marilah kita memanjatkan puji syukur kepada Allah SWT, Tuhan Yang Maha Kuasa yang senantiasa melimpahkan rahmat dan rahmat kepada kita sekalian, sehingga pada hari ini kita bertemu di sini silaturahim kepemiluan dalam rangka untuk pendaftaran bakal pasangan calon dalam kondisi sehat walafiat. Ibu Bapak yang kami hormati, Kami ucapkan terima kasih sekali atas kerjasama, koordinasi, silaturahim kita selama ini untuk mempersiapkan kegiatan-kegiatan menjelang atau persiapan pendaftaran bakal pasangan calon presiden dan wakil presiden, sehingga sampai hari ini kita tercapai kegiatan pendaftaran bakal pasangan calon pada hari ini. Sebagaimana diketahui bahwa yang punya wewenang untuk mendaftarkan adalah partai politik atau gabungan partai politik kepada KPU dengan menyerahkan atau menyampaikan dokumen persyaratan. Jadi ketika pendaftaran ini ukurannya hanya satu, apakah dokumennya lengkap atau belum lengkap. Dan sudah kami periksa untuk dokumen persyaratan bakal pasangan calon yang didaftarkan pada hari ini, kami menyatakan lengkap.
And we can say that the documents are complete.
Dan kemudian tahap berikutnya adalah verifikasi atau penelitian administrasi. Untuk verifikasi ini kategorinya dua, yaitu dokumennya sudah benar dan sah. Nanti kami akan lakukan penelitian atau verifikasi. Sehingga nanti kalau ada hal-hal yang katakanlah dokumennya belum benar atau belum sah, nanti masih ada kesempatan untuk dipenuhi dalam jangka waktu verifikasi dokumen persyaratan. Saya kira demikian yang kami sampaikan. Dan nanti setelah ini kami akan memberikan surat pengantar kepada bakal pasangan calon untuk melakukan pemeriksaan kesehatan di RSPAD Gatot Subroto sebagaimana dijadwalkan untuk bakal pasangan calon Mas Ganjar dan Pak Mahfud. Insya Allah dilakukan pada hari Ahad tanggal 22 Oktober 2023 bertepatan dengan hari santri. Jadi jadwalnya sudah dijadwalkan. Nanti kami sudah berkoordinasi lebih awal dengan tim pemeriksa kesehatan di RSPAD secara urut-urutan, waktu, dan segala sesuatunya nanti tim dari KPU dan tim dari RSPAD akan berkomunikasi dengan tim pasangan calon Mas Ganjar dan Pak Mahfud. Saya kira demikian yang dapat kami sampaikan. Kami ucapkan terima kasih atas kerjasama, koordinasi, dan silaturahim kita dalam penyelenggaraan pemilu. Dan tentu saja kita bersama-sama berdoa semoga apa yang kita hajatkan dikabulkan oleh Allah SWT, Tuhan Yang Maha Kuasa. Semoga kita semua diberikan kesehatan, diberikan kekuatan, dan khususnya mohon didoakan kami diberikan kesabaran dalam menjalankan tugas-tugas ini, dan kita semua diberikan keselamatan dalam menjalankan kepemiluan ini sampai akhirnya nanti tugas kami berakhir dengan husnul khotimah, kita memperoleh pemimpin-pemimpin yang berlegitimasi melalui proses-proses pemilu yang berintegritas dan demokratis. Semoga apa yang kita kerjakan ini memberikan kontribusi bagi perkembangan kepemiluan dan demokrasi kita di Indonesia. Demikian, mohon maaf sekiranya ada hal-hal yang kurang berkenan dalam layanan kami kepada peserta pemilu. Kami akhiri sampai di sini. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Bapak Ibu hadirin yang kami hormati, selanjutnya penyerahan plakat cindramata oleh Ketua Komisi Pemilihan Umum kepada bakal pasangan calon presiden dan wakil presiden. Berkenan kepada Ketua Komisi Pemilihan Umum untuk menyerahkan kepada bakal calon presiden.
The presidential and vice presidential candidates.
Baik Bapak Ibu hadirin yang kami hormati, selanjutnya sesi foto bersama. Kami mengundang untuk menuju ke atas panggung Ketua, anggota dan juga Sekretaris Jenderal Komisi Pemilihan Umum, bakal pasangan calon presiden dan wakil presiden, serta pimpinan partai politik untuk melakukan sesi foto bersama dan bersiap di atas panggung.
This is the photo session that is currently commencing at the General Elections Commission.
Baik, mohon izin Bapak dan Ibu, kita fokus ke kamera, kita akan hitung mundur. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, wow, we just witnessed, Luisa, the registration for the second pair of presidential as well as vice presidential candidates. It is quite interesting as well to see their reactions and how it was executed from the first as well as second pair.
Yeah, and can I just point out that last bit just now with the pop-up book.
With the pop-up book?
Yeah, the pop-up vision book. That was pretty smart, as well as the barcode. I mean, that's quite attention-seeking, but it's pretty cute.
Creative.
Yeah,
yes.
creative idea. Okay, so before we let you off, can we just go to Professor Kachung? What would be your closing statement after this two registration of the presidential as well as the vice presidential candidate, as well as what are your hopes for the election?
Yes, we already have two pair that already registered in the KPU. We need one more pair, maybe next couple of days. They will register to the KPU. Hopefully, the competition, the candidate very fair, and people have the opportunity to look at which candidate are better for Indonesia in the next 5 years. So yes, as mentioned also by party leader and head of the KPU, that the election will be conducted peacefully and with the result of good for all of Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Nicely put right there. And of course, we go to
yes, we go to Wasito,
yes,
in which from BRIN, and we'd like to know as well, right, Luisa, similar to what Professor said, what are your hopes and expectations for the future, especially coming from a more research perspective of the candidates for our 2024 elections?
Thank you. One point that should be underlined is the candidates, both pairs, in this current time, should avoid the use of identity politics when it comes to the electoral campaign. This is important to remember that we have divided society during 10 years, of course, and this would be a reminder for the current candidates to avoid using identity politics. Instead, they should use programmatic campaign. For example, they bring in the idea of the new development plan, or maybe how they eradicate poverty and how they can revise the inequality in society, for example. That would be much appreciated rather than using identity politics again in the upcoming election. So I think that wraps up my notes, Luis, Audrey.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you. We extend our gratitude as well to Professor Kachung Marijan, Social Political Science Professor at Erlangga University in Surabaya. And as well, we extend our thanks to Wasisto Raharjo Jati, researcher at Center for Politics, National Research and Innovation Agency, or BRIN. Thank you so much for coming on TVRI World.
Thank you.
And I guess that is it for us for today. Let's look forward to the third presidential and vice presidential candidates later on, maybe tomorrow, or let's just see how it's going to be.
Yeah, we shall see. We don't know how it will turn out. However, we're quite excited to see it unfold, right, Lisa? Well, that is it for our special report for today from the second registration of the presidential and vice presidential candidates for the 2024 elections for Indonesia. I'm Audrey Toyo.
I'm Luisa Kusnandar. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye-bye.